So guys, today's going to be a little bit of a different video. Now as you guys know, this season has been going on with a lot of different tournaments such as the Elite Cup, the Challenger Cup, the Contender Cup. All of these three different things are part of the same tournament series, and it all builds up to the FNCS Invitational at the end. However, I want to go over some criticisms that I've had of Fortnite in the past couple seasons, and exactly how I think they can improve it. This is going to be my overall video on the current state of competitive Fortnite and how I think Epic Games can truly revive it. So I want to start off by going over each of the different times in competitive Fortnite and how I personally connected with each one. So if you guys don't know, I started playing all the way back in the World Cup time. After playing for a while, not being able to qualify and not making any money, I decided to stop playing the game up until around the last week of Trios FNCS in Season X. I continued to play then, competed with some of my friends, but I was pretty much just taking competitive pretty lightly. Then Chapter 2 was announced and the game felt like a whole new platform that I could actually improve on. I started playing a bunch of different cash cups, all of the different FNCS game modes. I competed in FNCS squads. However, I was not able to get the chance to compete in the Winter Royale because I was away from my house at the time, and I also did not have a duo partner. Then as time went on, I played all of the coming FNCSs, the Duos FNCS, I qualified to semis, FNCS Invitational, I qualified all the way to the semifinals of that as well. However, I think the really big consistent thing was that all of these FNCSs were changing game modes every single season, and you could expect what was next. You could always understand that there was something coming that you could anticipate. For example, after FNCS squads, there was going to be FNCS duos. A lot of the time, you could understand exactly what to practice and how to play for the next season. I think that because of the surge of COVID back in those days as well, there's a lot of time and nostalgia for us to sit inside and play the game back in early Chapter 2. But as Chapter 2 went on, I started to enjoy the game less and less. My lack of enjoyment for the game peaked around Chapter 2 Season 6 when the Primal Shotgun and all of these different weapons were added into the game. I was not a big fan of any of them, so I actually stopped competing in tournaments for a while. I decided to go full force content, and I started making a bunch of educational commentaries for you guys. However, something that really was brought to my attention was that this game wasn't actually dying during any of this. Fortnite was actually thriving during this time due to stuff like COVID, and just an overall hype in the player base for staying home all day. I think Stark Season was some of my favorite times of this game. I think Chapter 2 Season 7 was some of the best times as well. I had a really good trio back then, I had a lot of fun, but as soon as Chapter 3 launched, I started to notice a decline in the competitive enjoyment of the game. I think as soon as they announced that duos would be the game mode for all of 2022, I think that's where I slightly got turned away. Now, we had just come off from a previous year of trios, and I think that was really fun because I think trios was really well suited for the previous map that we had. However, as soon as we entered this new map, I think duos was the wrong decision. I don't think this map is very well suited for duos. I think that it's a little bit too clunky, the POIs are a bit strange, they're all pretty similar. There's not too much original stuff on this map that you can actually get excited by. And yes, I know there are exceptions to that, but I still am not the biggest fan of this map. It is probably my least favorite map and my least favorite chapter of all the three that we've had so far. However, I also think a really big part of that was the fact that we had yet another year of just completely the same game mode. And now in this recent new season, we had the FNCS Invitational announced that's going to be happening in November. I'm really excited for that. I think it's pretty much the closest we're going to get to a World Cup Part 2. And I think that's a great thing for Epic Games to do. However, I really feel that the whole system of different FNCS game modes every single season should definitely come back. I feel like that brought a serious amount of excitement to the game that you could anticipate that there's going to be something new next season. You're going to need to play differently based upon the map, and I just think that the state that we are in right now is really not that good. As you guys know, the Contender, Challenger, and Elite Cups are various different duo events that happen pretty much every single week a couple of times. They do have a decent prize pool, they are pretty good when it comes to playing, their format is pretty solid. However, it does get quite confusing when you guys try to actually play it and understand if you qualified, whether you didn't, how many points you need. It gets very confusing in some of those times. I also think that there's not as much hype since there's so many Elite Cups. Since there's so many of them, it's just like another cash cup every single day. And yes, I know that they're trying to save the hype for this FNCS Invitational. However, that's only the top 0.1% of players in the entire player base. I think that Fortnite needs to focus more on the 99% of competitive players that are not having really much fun stuff to do. If we look back on exactly what chapters we loved the most, Chapter 1 is probably the most loved. That's simply because of nostalgia, but I also think it was a really good chapter. Chapter 2 was fantastic for competitive. I think other than some exceptions like the Primal season and certain times where we had unfair meta changes and a lack of response from Epic, I think Chapter 2 was pretty solid all around. I think it's just crazy how much we took that time of Fortnite for granted, and I want to explain to you guys what I think should happen in the future. So to start off, I genuinely believe that we should have different FNCS game modes every single season. Maybe not squads because that's going to be very tough for the servers to handle. I think game modes like solos, duos, and trios are some of the best game modes. However, after a while, you do get bored of one game mode. I don't think anybody would be opposed to having trios back. I think that was one of the greatest game modes. It was one of the most versatile. It was very fair and very competitive. I think that was pretty solid. But I also believe that there should be some serious changes or an entirely new map. I don't think this map has anything on the Chapter 2 map and also the Chapter 1 map. I think what Fortnite seems to be missing is that the Chapter 1 map was so loved because of nostalgia, but it was also loved because of the different POIs and exactly how they functioned. Fortnite, from its very core, is a goofy little kids game that you guys play and have fun with your friends on. And I think the whole goal of competitive Fortnite was to see who could do the best at that. It's not who can do the best at this competitive mosh pit that we've been succumbed into nowadays. The shotgun meta is absolutely terrible. I don't like any of these weapons in Chapter 3. I don't like any of the new utilities. Other than certain things like med miss, I'm not the biggest fan of much of the utilities. I really think that one of the best times of Fortnite was Chapter 1 simply because the map wasn't too big, it was really well oriented for all game modes, you could play anything on it. However, now Fortnite designs the map in advance, thinking about what the competitive game mode for the year is going to be. I think that really leads to a lot of boredom when it comes to playing stuff like Arena, leading stuff like W keying, seeing POIs. I think the map is just in a really poor spot right now. I also believe that a really good part of Chapter 1 was that anybody could improve and anybody could win. That's because players weren't as good back then, they had to grind to get good at the game, and then they would have to compete. However, now everybody's a demon and everybody's really good at the game. So it's pretty much just you guys fighting each other in a box and seeing who can win and who can get furthest in the game. Another really big time for me in Fortnite was the time of the mythic weapons. And if you guys don't know when this was Chapter 2 Season 2, the Midas season if you guys don't know, Chapter 2 Season 3, which was the Water season, and then Chapter 2 Season 4, which was the Stark season. All of these seasons had extremely good weapon metas. They all had very good shotguns, except for Season 3, which had the charge shotgun. But besides that, they were all extremely good. They had mythic weapons which actually gave you something to fight for in the game, rather than just landing, looting, playing, getting to the end game, and then dying. I think a really big part of these old seasons that we look on with so much nostalgia is that they were actually fun. We were playing competitively and we were trying to win, but we were having fun in the process. I cannot tell you how many pros I see just playing the game because they have to make some money or to actually keep up their fan base. There's so many times that I really wish that I could be the head of Epic Games and just direct stuff. And I know that it's not that easy, but I feel that if players had more vision in what happens to Fortnite, this game would be a lot better. And then the final thing that I think really needs to change is genuinely the weapon meta. I think that there needs to be not only mythics, but there needs to be a reinsurgence of old nostalgic weapons that we all enjoyed when they came out. Even if they're a bit unbalanced and unfair for competitive, stuff such as the shockwave grenade, the bouncer, stuff like that needs to be really reinstated back into the core of Fortnite. And once again, the core of Fortnite is that it's just a goofy little kids game that you play to have fun with your friends. I think one of the best weapon metas other than the mech was Chapter 1 Season 10. I think that season had a fantastic weapon meta. Some of the best shotguns, some of the best weapon balances. Even though there were some weapons that were considered overpowered, I think that that's fair. I think that it was fun. I think people enjoyed doing stuff with that. That's when some of the greatest competitive moments in history were made, like MMB. Stuff like that was fun. People are way too focused on the competitive fairness of the game that they forgot what Fortnite's all about. It's a fun game. You're supposed to have fun while playing video games. And if you can't have fun while playing a competitive video game, then you're really not competing at all. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching this video. I know you guys don't normally see me uploading these types of rant videos. I just felt that this was really necessary considering I'm really afraid for where the game might go if Epic Games continues to fail. I think they need to seriously reconsider what they're doing and try to bring back some of those tips that I mentioned. And obviously I know that probably nobody from Epic's gonna watch this video considering how small I am, but I really hope that they do and they just take some of these ideas under consideration. But that's about it for this video, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.